In this video, we're going to be talking to Curtis King and Callum Johnson. Both of them have grown their YouTube channels to over 300,000 subscribers. And as a bonus, I'm going to come back and give you some AI tools to help you with these titles and thumbnails. First, let's talk to Curtis.
My first 200 videos that I released on my YouTube channel, none of them cracked 1,000 views. I did a dual series because I didn't know who my audience was going to ultimately be. You know, I knew that it was going to be rappers or music producers, not sure which one, because I was both, or I am both. And so I just did a series where it was producer motivation and artist marketing 101, because nobody else was providing that information. And the people who were providing it didn't look like they rapped a day in their life, but they got all this rap advice. They ain't work with nobody. They just got on the camera and God bless them, but the information was terrible. Because I knew as an artist firsthand, none of this stuff is applicable. So I was like, let me share these experiences that I've had in working with some of the biggest artists, the Kendricks, the Ab Souls, the Glasses Malones, the folks out here from the West Coast. Like I've had opportunities to see firsthand the beginnings of TDE. I have a lot of information to give, and so I gave it. But the first 200 videos, I wasn't generating income. But then I did a video where it wasn't even a matter of me putting my hands up, which is another video for another day. I was just chopping wood and carrying water. I did a video called The Biggest Lie in Hip Hop. And it was based upon reading the book called The Go-Giver, which I think is an excellent book for any business owner, any entrepreneur, any artist to read. That is an amazing book to understand the exchange and the value of value. What does the word value actually mean? And I shared my thoughts about the disconnect that hip hop had with the word value and what this book taught me. And the authors left a comment on that video. And that was my first video that just took off like crazy. And I would love to say that video took off and gave me an audience, but it didn't. That was just a huge step. It's a huge step where it's like, I kind of like this guy's thoughts, but I still haven't bought in yet. So then I did another series called Curspiration, where I was taking user submitted questions and then just kind of giving my experience and my spill on it. And that's what really grew my audience. I just continued to say 5 days a week. I shot 5 episodes, usually on a Monday, 5 questions, 5 videos, no script. I might have like 3 bullet points in my mind, and I would just turn the camera on and force myself to get good at this. I was long-winded. I was trash. I forced myself to get good at this. And that really, really developed my channel and helped me to find my niche too. You know, one thing I talked to a flow state expert named Steven Kotler. He's one of the most brilliant minds you'll meet. And he said that all of his studies show you can't get to quality until you go through quantity. So it's not a matter of quantity or quality. You have to be prolific in your work. Shout out to Nipsey. You got to be prolific in your work to get to quality. And too many people are so stuck on trying to perfect this first version of it or this first iteration. You're going to go through you have to allow yourself to suck and be bad and be terrible. And the audio I didn't shot videos outside in the park, out in my car, in other people's studios, and the sound was terrible, but we made it through. One of my biggest videos was shot on an iPhone 6 with no lighting, where I'm teaching people how to count 16 bars. That video also has 1 million views.
My man said first 200. I go 7 years ago, 1.3 million. 9 years ago, 1.1 million. His oldest, he's been doing this for 15 years. Okay?
Yeah.
15 years. I just want to put a little context. This man is just like, let me just spit all these bars and tell you the struggle, the journey. And then look, I found the iPhone 6 and I got 1 million views. What the
crazy part is, them videos you looking at right there was me not knowing how to use YouTube. That was me using it like a public SoundCloud, like a Dropbox.
We're going back to it. We're going right back to it.
What you seeing? This is the first time I quit YouTube. When you look at all of those, I was just going to use this channel, Curtis King TV, as a place to host my music and my songs. I was a full-time artist at the time. This is what I was primarily focused on. And I was like doing remixes and flips and all these different things and sharing all my work, but you don't see my face in these. And I was kind of doing the same timid dance that a lot of people do when they first get into the content space. But At some point, after reading that book, I'm telling you, that book is what gave me perspective of like, you got to give these folks value. And I'll tell you the analogy that really messed me up and got me out of my imposter syndrome. Let me tell you which one, it messed me up. It was so beautiful. John Lee Dumas from a podcast called Entrepreneurs on Fire said, you may not be the expert that you believe you need to be, but if you see something at a crime scene, you are brought into a courthouse as an expert witness because you saw something that nobody else in the room saw. You have perspective on something that nobody else can quite provide the same value of it. The same thing applies to whatever your niche is. The same thing applies to whatever your art is. Yeah, although if you put your hours in, you may not be of the status of the biggest artist in the game. But in this courtroom full of amateurs, or this courtroom full of people who are like 6-7 years into it, you're an expert witness because of what you saw and what you experienced firsthand, your lived experiences. When I heard that, imposter syndrome left out the house.
Shout out to Curtis. Now let's get into Callum.
There's a difference between something that like it looks beautiful from like a design perspective versus it actually gets clicks. And it's very important to keep it at the forefront of your mind that as a creator, especially if you produce something that you believe is great, that you think has like a benefit and like a value to an audience, it's your job to figure out how you get the click. You know, like the click is more important than something that just visually looks good. The thumbnails that performed the best was where we had like a really clear headshot. And it's funny because if you actually go to human psychology, it's like it's that thing of, what is it? They say a picture tells 1,000 words, right? Or like an image tells 1,000 words. So seeing someone's like expressive face instantly gets someone's attention more than, I don't know, like fancy words or like nice graphics. It's like we relate with faces. Yeah. So that instantly gets someone's attention. And if you actually look at my our most recent videos, it's not really showing the guest's body. It's like just the face, because we saw that was the most significant. The other thing that we've seen, right, is we tested like different facial expressions. We saw that a lot of these frames, you'll see that the guest's mouth is like slightly open. Mm-hmm. And it's because it builds a natural curiosity in the brain that like they're about to say something. I want to know what they're going to say. And so like all of these kind of insights are just through the testing. And then afterwards, you're like, okay, why did that thing work? And you kind of figure it out. But yeah, the way that I got there, and then you can see that the text is just very clear. And it's like central on the screen. And a lot of the times
I love your thumbnails because it's like I could see the inspiration, but I could see how it's unique to you at the same time, but how intentional you are of like, I know the formula of what works when it comes to podcasts and when it comes to having a guest on. This is the structure, this is the format that it works. Let me just figure out how it works on my channel. And I know you do A/B testing like crazy.
Oh yeah, we do.
He's like, yeah.
We test a lot before it actually even goes. Before it even sees YouTube, we test a lot.
Break that. Don't tell me you do the Stephen Bartlett joint and you do ad. Hold on. Let me put you right here. Wait. What you mean you test before? What you mean?
Okay, you know, I'm not sure how much I should give this away, Nicky. I don't know if the people are ready for all this.
Hey, it's me and you. Okay, it's me. it's me and you. All right, because I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. What are you talking about?
I think one of the things that we're fortunate in is like I have an interview show. So like the thumbnail template that we have is very consistent. Yeah. You know, there's different styles of videos. Like for a Mr. Beast, for example, like there's more variation, I think, in terms of his thumbnails on a week-to-week basis. I think for us, it's basically a case of figuring out like it kind of simplified things. We have to figure out what frames we want to use and then what text is going to get people to click. And so what that allows us to do is like, we come up with a bunch of different like thumbnail titles, we call it, like the text that you see on the frame. We come up with different just images of the guest's face and my face. And then before it ever hits YouTube, we test it on Meta and we track the CTR. And so we have like a very good idea of like what's going to be the best performing thumbnail before it ever hits YouTube. And one of the things, you know, I like to say this with caution, because of course you have to create great videos as well.
Yes.
You have to create great content. And so I don't want to make it seem like there's just, you know, you just do some thumbnail hacks and you get a bunch of views. But, and I actually said this to Omar when we spoke, is most people, 99% of people or creators on YouTube vastly underestimate the impact of packaging. Like, and when I say this, the difference between having like a mediocre thumbnail and a mediocre like video title versus a great thumbnail and a great video title, it's not like it's going to be like a 2x of your views or like even a 3x. We've seen it, like literally the video that first went viral on the channel was at 100 views after a couple of days. We made changes with the thumbnail and the video title. That video now has, I think it's over 900,000 views. Like the difference between mediocre packaging and great packaging is, I don't even know what number to put on it. Like it makes such a huge difference in terms of the performance of your channel. And I just think it's such a shame if you're creating great content that the reason that no one ever sees it is because you didn't get the packaging right. So we put that extra effort and time to make sure that we get the packaging spot on.
Okay, so let's talk about some AI tools that's going to help you with your YouTube journey. There was 3 tools that I used every week for the first year of my YouTube journey that grew me to 15,000 subscribers. Now, the first tool was ChatGPT. I wanted to brainstorm about different thumbnail ideas, different title ideas, all inside of a free tool. So ChatGPT I use for my ideation phase. I would tell the idea of the video and it would give me some title ideas, some thumbnail ideas, and it would actually give me kind of like a little sketch, a little draft of what the thumbnail could possibly look like. Now, I'm no graphic designer, so I loved how in the beginning I used ChatGPT for free because it allowed me to invest in what I really needed. Because what I really needed was a graphic designer if I know packaging is so important. Because sometimes you're just shooting in the dark and you really don't know what works. So I actually went to Fiverr. Majority of the thumbnails you see on my channel all came from Fiverr. I paid no more than $10. And now that they have A/B testing, I'll pay for 2, that's $20. Now for me, I found that investment being wise just because I know I was going to spend hours doing thumbnails and I could have spent that on actually learning how to grow YouTube. Now, pro tip when doing with Fiverr, make sure you always have a reference. Don't be like, here's my picture, now make it up, because that's the worst thing you could do. Research on YouTube, find some thumbnails that you like that you wanted to click on and give it to them with some of the pictures that you have of yourself. And the third tool that I used to help me get to 15,000 subscribers was Taja AI. Now, one thing I suck at is the admin work, like figuring out the description, figuring out the timestamps, figuring out the keywords. Even though the keywords isn't as important as it used to be, still having that all filled out, I suck at. Taja AI is so dope because you could give it the URL to your YouTube video, unlisted of course, and you could get the titles, you can get the description, you can get the timestamps, you can get the keywords, and you can even get clips to your videos in a matter of minutes. So which strategy or tool are you going to be using for your YouTube channel? And if you want more conversation with Curtis and Callum, go check this video out.